And panelists, it will be up to you if you decide to
South Fulton. At this time, I would like to provide you with some updates on current projects that the community has been waiting. And let me start with bridges. We have, as you are aware of, the closure of Cascade Road at Branch of Butte Creek. The status of the current structure is that we have bid the project out and the bids have opened on June 9. At this point, we have all the documentation and the bid tabulations to recommend a lowest bidder to the city of South Fulton at the next council meeting. It is our intention to issue the notice to proceed to the lowest bidder as soon as the council approves it. And we're expecting to fast track it and within 20 days, award the contract to the lowest bidder. The construction of this project, it is estimated to the duration, it's approximately 180 calendar days. With regards to sidewalks, at the district, we were able to secure piggyback agreements and additional documentation. So we are now ready to resume design activities for Danforth Road sidewalks, Federal Road, and New Hope sidewalks. Danforth Road, it is under TIS Plus. Federal Road has general funds, and New Hope Road has federal funds. We're gonna do the best that we can to negotiate the best route to go into construction of Danforth Road. That particular project is to build the sidewalks from the existing sidewalks built by the city of Atlanta to coming up all the way up to Cascade Road. The scope of the services, it is 5-foot sidewalks and pedestrian lighting. With regards to Federal Road, we're gonna continue with the pending acquisition, and then as soon as funds are available at a full 100%, we're gonna be advising on how we can let this project to construction. New Hope Road is a federal funded project. It has a good number of parcels that are in need to acquire the rights of way. We are also in the process of securing the vendor for the acquisition of the rights of way. While that occurs, we're going to ensure to certify the rights of way with Georgia DOT, and then catch up schedule and being able to let the project to construction in accordance with the fiscal year where this project is at. Additional intersections that we have under the District 1, it is Stonewall Tail, a Union Road. The project is currently under rights of acquisition. Next page, please. With regards to streetlights, we have a good number of roads that the community and Council Raul has requested and supported, such as the installation of additional streetlights at Campbellton Road. That it comes from approximately Sandtown Park to Camp Creek Parkway, as well as Campbellton Road at Camp Creek Parkway and Camp Creek Road at Inner Road. It's not Campbellton, it is Camp Creek Road at Inner Road. So those three locations, we've been working with Georgia DOT because those are to be installed on the state route, as well as working with Greystone. I think we're in good shape. It's just a matter of getting the approvals from the state and us going back and work with Greystone for the installation. On Inner Road, it is a single installation that we received through Cyclifix. We're working with Georgia Power in this case, and then as soon as the quote has been submitted to the city, we'll assess it and we'll go from there. I believe that is the number of projects that I have for tonight, unless I'm missing anything else. Is there a third page? I don't think so.
Let's see.
Oh, yeah, yes, I think we have for traffic calming. On the traffic calming, we were able to secure stop signs at Wallace Road. We installed at 2 locations. I'm aware of that we have some issues with somebody that has been taking the signs down, but we had installed those signs back on. And then we have one request that we'll be working with the Cascade Hill subdivision upon COVID-19 and having more time to work with the community. That is my report for Public Works. If you have any questions at this time, I don't know how you want to run it, Councilwoman Raul. I can respond to anything now, or?
I don't see any questions currently posted on the Zoom chat regarding this projects, but We do encourage all participants, if you have them, to take advantage of that feature. And we'll save time at the end. But I do understand you have another commitment. So Mr. Valenzuela, we can follow up with any follow-up questions.
It sounds good.
I don't currently see any on the thread. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Next, we have Langston Johnson with the Georgia Department of Transportation with updates on the roundabout at Boat Rock and Campbellton Road. And it will be presented by Donatello Barrett.
Okay, thank you. Like I said, this is Langston Johnson from Georgia Department of Transportation. I was going to thank you, Councilwoman Rowe, for having us on. Like I said, Donatello he's the project manager for the roundabout, and he will get started on his presentation.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Donatello Barrett. I'm the project manager on the project at State Route 166, Campbellton Road and Boat Rock Road and New Hope Road. As of right now, the project has been doing well, has been going good. Everything is still scheduled to be done in the fall of 2021. There has been no setbacks as of right now. Next slide, please. On State Route 166 in Campbellton, the recent progress we have has been grading in the roundabout area. That's mostly we have been installing GAB and putting subgrade in that area to bring it up to grade for the stage 1. Over in that area, we have closed off the D-cell lane, traveling westbound, leading to the intersection of Boat Rock Road, just so we can get in that area and install a GAB. As far as underground utilities, Gas to Gas Company, which is Diversified, has completed most of the work, the underground work on State Route 166 going eastbound and westbound. They're currently still working on Campbellton going towards the Phillip Middle School. AT&T just started last week as well working on underground utilities. They just started working this month. They have a number of underground utilities that they have to address, mostly on State Route 166 at the intersection of Boat Rock and Campbellton. As far as the power poles, Georgia Power and East Point Power have completed all of their poles on Campbellton. They have just completed, Georgia Power just completed most of their poles last week, and they are completely done. Now we are just waiting on AT&T and other utilities to complete their lines, to transfer their lines to those new poles. Next slide, please. These are some of the progress pictures that we have been taking on Campbellton. As I stated, this is on the left, the D-cell lane that was cut off, so we can put our GAB in that area. Next slide, please. Boat Rock, the recent progress we have done on Boat Rock, that was the first road that we started construction on. We have installed sidewalk, we have installed curb and gutter, a couple driveways on Boat Rock as well. Mostly we have that done, completed with the subgrade and GAB, mostly complete in that area. The only area that hasn't been done yet is the area that leads to the roundabout between New Hope and Boat Rock Road. We have been doing a good job of keeping this area covered, mostly because we've been doing a lot of grading. So it's a lot of dirt work. So we've been doing our best to keep this area vegetated. We just, 2 weeks ago, permanent grass the area heavily. And I seen today that we have grass in that area. So that's good, especially for this upcoming rain, to keep all the erosion down. The utility poles on Boat Rock, I believe, have all been completed on Boat Rock. So there won't be any more lane closures on Boat Rock or New Hope as well. Georgia Power were the ones who installed those poles. It's on wood poles and concrete poles. They are currently done. There won't be any more need for them. Next slide, please. These are pictures of the recent construction that we have. We have installed, like I said, the new 10-foot sidewalks as well as the curb and gutter. We still have a ways to go to do on Boat Rock Road, as you can see, but the new alignment is coming together. Once we get to stage 2, we'll be closing off Boat Rock Road and continue to bring that up to grade and install subgrade in that area. Next slide, please. For New Hope Road, we did a lot of construction in the month of May last month. Some of the recent progress we have done in New Hope Road was we began installing the GAB as well for the new alignment on New Hope Road, which is leading to the roundabout area. Our main focus for last month was to get as much GAB and subgrade in that area covered as we could, just to start the new alignment and just to try to get as much progress as we can. Things have been going a little slow with the rain, so we try to get that area covered as much as we can, just to cover the dirt. We also have installed some curb and gutter as well as driveways on that road. I believe the driveways are done for all the residential homes on New Hope Road. We still have curb and gutter that we have to tie from New Hope Road leading to the intersection of the roundabout and the old existing Boat Rock Road. As far as the utilities on New Hope Road, all of the power poles have also been installed on New Hope Road. I know this last couple of months we had a lot of lane closures in that area that was causing some backup traffic. So that is done in that area. We are complete with the pole installation. Now we're just waiting on, like I said, the other utilities to come and transfer their poles to those new poles. Next slide, please. This is to the picture on the left is the new alignment that I was referring to, with the GAB going into the new New Hope Road. That would be the new alignment as the progress or the project continues. That would be the new alignment that is proposed right now. The bottom right picture, as you can see, is most of the subgrade is in. The top right picture was before we put the subgrade in. So I just wanted to give you all just a visual of the progress that we have going on. So New Hope Road is still a ways away. We still are only in stage 1, so we still have some time to go on New Hope Road. Next slide, please. For the next plan of action, we have water valve installation. We have installed 2 water valves so far. That was all done last week. We still have 2 more that we have to do in the road. That would be on State Route 166 Campbellton, traveling westbound. Those will be done on the weekends only, just so we can make sure we have enough time to complete those and follow lane closure restrictions. But we will be giving out notice of that when we will be doing that, just so the traveling public can know. We also ask that people travel with caution as they come through that area. For State Route 166, we will continue grading, bringing that area up to grade. This is all for stage 1. That is being done, traveling, going towards Phillips Middle School. And they would just be grading, like I said, cutting and filling areas, bringing that area up to grade as we get prepared for stage 1 and try to transition to stage 2. That is the update for the project roundabout that I have for you today. I guess if you have any questions, please let me know. Please feel free.
We do have a couple of questions from the chat.
Yes, ma'am.
The first one, will there be a traffic control device there? And how long do you anticipate Boat Rock being closed? And how will they be able to get to their homes on the west side of Cascade where the bridge is? If somebody can answer those questions.
I'm sorry. You asked if there would be a traffic control device.
Yeah, it won't be I'm make sure we understand the question. Now, this is Langston, I'm sorry. Now, it won't be a traffic control device, once the job is complete. That's the purpose of the roundabout. So we won't need a traffic control device.
And the second question, which I think you answered, how long will Boat Rock closed?
Boat Rock won't be closed. Once we have that new road open, we would just transition it over to the new road. Boat Rock will not be closed no time during the construction of this project.
Okay.
And I think that's the only questions we have posted in the chat relative to GDOT's project. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time and giving us an update.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. If they got any questions, they can, like I say, they can call me at, even on my cell, at 706-741-3541. I put it in the chat. And I have no problem with it.
Thank you. Next, we have John Perlman, who is going to give us an update on Sandtown Crossing 2, a project that we are all been anticipating and watching the construction continue over the last couple of months. So, John.
Thank you, and good evening, everybody. We are very, very happy with our progress that we've had here. These are renderings that we showed you, when we started. If Ruth, let's see what the next slide might be. There's an aerial photograph that we took on Saturday. Since that time, we have begun paving. That just shows the graded aggregate base, GAB, like same stuff the DOT guys were referring to. So you can see the buildings are finished as far as the shell, the roof is on, the air conditioning has started being placed on the buildings. And you can, a lot of people are saying, where's this going? And now you can sort of get a feel for where exactly it fits. There's a new main drive straight down the middle of the property into the shopping center. Perfect, Ruth, that shows it exactly. We have a new secondary road out to Riverside on the north end of the property. And we also have the existing. Now that's Camp Creek. No curb over there. That's it. Perfect. So you have a new access point a little closer to the front. There you go. Keep moving. Keep moving. That's it. That's our new access point. So it'll be a new road leading directly into the property. You can see that from this picture shows really clearly that's the road that's designed for all the truck traffic. So we're hoping the trucks will use that, and it's designed that they'll use that as their main entry to make deliveries to the Publix. Our scheduled delivery date to Publix is the 22nd of September. We had a ton of delays for weather. As you know, it rained like crazy in the fall and winter, but our contractor was able to make up most of that time and keep us on schedule. And Publix generally takes a month or so after that to get it ready for opening. So we're still targeting opening around the first week in November. Ruth, let's see what else you got.
I can go to the other images that you sent me. I have them in a folder.
Super. Okay.
Hold on one second while I do that.
What I've sent Ruth is a series of pictures that I took a couple of months ago at the opening of a new Publix called Holland Point, which is in Buford. This is essentially a twin to our store. And the pictures are, when you get them, when she gets them up, you'll see they're beautiful. It's a very high ceiling store, so it feels bright and airy. It's got all the service departments on the perimeter. Nope.
No, that's not it. Hold on one second.
That's a beautiful residential property.
Yes, it is. That's our next slide. Hold on one second.
So let me just talk a little bit about leasing while we're waiting for the pictures.
I was just going to suggest that opportunities for entrepreneurs to lease retail space.
We are eagerly reaching out to the community in every way possible to have entrepreneurs come along and open up quality businesses in the shopping center. We have mentioned 1,000,000 times that UPS store wants a location here. They're looking for a franchisee. We have a couple of leases signed so far. Our existing nail salon in the shopping center in front is going to expand its space by 50%. I think everyone will agree that's kind of nice right now in the era of social distancing to be able to have a little bit more room between you and the person in the next chair. We have a signed lease with a personal chef who does catering and cooking classes and parties, small parties within his space. We expect to have a lease signed in the next day or so with an AT&T store. And we're negotiating a letter of intent with a couple of guys that live within a couple of miles of the shopping center that want to open up a Caribbean restaurant. It would be primarily a takeout restaurant. You know, everyone's trying to figure out the new rules. Well, let's go back now. We have the pictures up. This is a picture of the deli department and the produce department in the store in Beaufort. Ours will be very similar. They're going to start on this terrazzo floor in the next few days. And at that point, all work inside the store stops because that takes about a week and nobody can walk on it or anything while it's getting finished. Terrazzo is basically marble chips and encased in some kind of material. It is indestructible. It is easy to keep clean and indestructible. You see what the next slide looks like?
This is the extent of those pictures that we were able to put here. So from
okay.
those images that you sent, yeah, this is what we have.
Okay, gotcha. Yep. Anyway, so you can see it's got a nice high ceiling, and all the different service departments are going to be there. So we're very excited about having a new supermarket in the community to serve the needs of the community. So back to the leasing, we have, as I mentioned, the 4 spaces taken. We still have quite a few options for people that want to open up a business, and they may feel free to call us. Our number is on the sign. It's 404-255-7535. Press extension 5 for leasing. My son Sam handles the leasing, and we'd be delighted to talk to anybody about their ideas. That's about it. I'm happy to answer any questions anybody may have.
If there are any questions, I don't see any in the chat thread. Thank you, John, for joining us. We're all very excited about this development, and again, encouraging entrepreneurs and business folks from our community to go ahead and set up shop and reach out to Mr. Perlman. We're again excited about this project coming on and this fall. So, thank you.
A question just popped up. A gentleman asked, "What are the leasing options?" And we have
in the size.
Sure, right. It's a standard size of 1,400 square feet at this time, and several of those can be combined. And the end cap on the eastern end, Ruth, if you could go back to the aerial photograph, maybe.
Sure.
The end cap on the eastern end. Now if you go, that's it on the right. Just move your arrow up a little bit. Left, move to the left. Mm-hmm. Right there. That end cap is 2,100 square feet. It's designed for a restaurant. It'll have about a 1,200 square foot patio next to it, and we would love to have a quality restaurant go there. The problem we're having right now is the COVID-19 pandemic. Nobody knows what the ground rules are for when they can open, what they can open, how many they can seat, what the rules are. And we need to let this settle down a little bit, I think, before we'll get a quality restaurant that's ready to take on that space. So between that space and the other one that's leased in that building, there's 5,600 square feet remaining. Another question popped up, where will the drive-through pharmacy be? Ruth, if you'd move your cursor to the left, that's it, stop right there. No, go way back. Go back to the building, back to the Publix building. Okay, right there, that's it. That is exactly where the drive-through is. It is between the left side of the Publix building and the 9,000 foot shops building next to it. You can already see we're already building the roof over the drive-through now. So anybody would come into the shopping center, signage will indicate that they loop around to the back of the building on the left and they come around through the drive-through. Any other questions popping up?
I don't see any.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. I look forward to seeing you. We will be posting information about our grand opening as soon as we have a date.
And of course, we'll share that information in the District 1 newsletter.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome. The next project we have up to get an update is the Anthem at Riverside. It's our new senior housing development that's coming on Riverside Drive. Edric Harris, or a member of his team, will be presenting that information. Mr. Harris?
Is he on?
Yeah.
See, hold on one second.
You know what? Let's in the meantime, as we get that together, let's go ahead and go ahead to Mr. Phillips' update. James Nixon is with Prexwick. He's on.
Okay.
Is he unmute? He may need to be unmuted.
Okay.
He's on the line, Mr. Nixon.
Mr. Nixon, okay.
From Prexwick.
Okay. Mr. Nixon. Okay, one moment. Is Mr. Pressburg able to speak?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All righty. So, good evening, everyone. My name is James Nixon. I'm with Presswick Companies. I am the asset manager. Thanks for having us this evening. And just an update on our Anthem Riverside. They're located on Waycrest Way. So the phase one is geared up and tracking for a late October delivery to us from our construction company, which will consist of 80 units with 48 one-bedroom, 32 two-bedrooms. And then that building, it consists of a fitness center, a wellness room, a business center, a garden, and a pavilion. And as you see here, there's a phase two that will close this in August, and as well construction will begin in August, and that will be 70 units, which will consist of 45 one bedrooms and 25 two bedrooms. And there's a phase three that we're still in talks with DCA and getting their input and everything else before we start on that one there. So we're projecting to have leases to start in November, or move-ins, I'm sorry, in November. And we'll start pre-leasing or accepting applications 3 months, 90 days prior to then. So it's about August, we'll start accepting applications. And I believe if you go to the next slide, or can I go to the next slide? And here's the renderings of our building, what it's going to look like, one of the buildings. We also, on the next slide, you'll see that there's a website, or I'm sorry, email address along with a phone number where information can be left as far as what apartment size you're looking for, as well as the contact number on the screen. There will also be, we're working on the website, and on the website, you'll have information there in regards to the processes, and as well as the application steps that will need to be taken in order to lease one of the units out of Anthem.
One of the questions we have, Mr. Nixon, is what are the price ranges for the units?
Right now, I don't have that answer to that question. I can have that next time. We're still working on that. We're still getting our UAs, or utility allowances, but yeah, we'll have those prices on next time if we're invited to present again.
Of course, you'll be invited back, and we'll be happy to share that information out as you finalize those marketing materials. We'll make sure we circulate them.
Okay. And I see that another question that come up, what is the age range? I believe this is a 55 and older senior community.
So it's active living, active
Yes,
adult.
active living.
Are there any other questions? I don't see any additional on the thread at this time.
So there's floor plans and amenities. We will have floor plans again the next time that we present. And as far as the units income, are the units income based? It's not income based, but it is. It has. Oh my God!
It's market rate with some affordable units.
Yeah. Oh, I just had a brain fart. There's a limit. There's an income limit. I'm sorry. There's an income limit. So a certain, you can't make over a certain amount, and depending on the number of individuals in that unit.
And again, we'll be sharing that information as they finalize that, those details. We'll be making sure to get them out, which will be available by the end of December, like he said, around August.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nixon, for your time.
Thank you for having us.
Okay. I don't see any additional questions, so we'll proceed and get our update from Tony Phillips, our Director of Parks and Rec and Cultural Affairs.
Good evening, and thank you again, Councilwoman Ralph, for the opportunity to be a part of your virtual town hall meeting and to share some updates with our community, which we are always excited about doing. This is a really exciting time, notwithstanding all the drama that we've all been through since March with the pandemic and with all that's been going on. We have made a concerted effort to make sure that through all of this, we could remain focused on the needs of our community and finding ways to continue to be productive. And we've done that in a number of different ways. We've begun about mid-March sending out daily updates to parents, activities that they could do at home with their kids while we were sheltering in place. They're called Join the Fun. And we've had the opportunity to kind of provide those on a daily basis, Monday through Friday. I have 4 teenagers at home myself, and so I know how difficult it can be to have children cooped up in the house. And so we've tried to aid that. We've also been doing virtual programming. That is everything from exercise classes to our wind down Wednesdays with our Cultural Affairs Division. And there's more information on our website where you can learn more about those opportunities. We have social media presence now on both Instagram and Facebook. And we've been working really closely with our communications department to try to find new and different ways to continue to support our community throughout this time. It's a new normal for all of us, and that's no less true for us in Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs. What I wanted to take a few minutes to specifically update everyone on is our Parks Master Plan process. This is really a vital part of our path forward as a city, and certainly for us in Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs. In short, a master plan is kind of the foundational document for a Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs agency. In essence, what it is a collaborative roadmap that, working with you and our communities, we're going to put together that will help to drive our decisions over the next 5 to 10 years. It's collaborative, which means your voice in this process is vital. It's going to take us roughly about 12 to 18 months to complete this. We started the process by doing a national search for a Parks Master Plan consultant to kind of help us go through this process, as it is very extensive and takes some subject matter expertise. And we were very fortunate in that after going through that process, we ended up with one of the most nationally recognized consultants in this area, Perez Consultant. They have done over 100 master plans all over the country. They're currently finishing up City of Atlanta's. They've done Gwinnett's plan. They've done Dallas-Fort Worth, and other areas all over the country. And so they bring a lot of expertise to the table. So we're fortunate that we ended up with a really good partner to help us through this process. And we started actually before the pandemic hit. But of course, as with everything else, we had to figure out new and different ways to continue this process. So one of the things that we've done is we've converted much of what is involved in that parks master planning process to virtual meetings. And that's one of the things I want to make sure that everyone is aware of. If you are not already, we are hosting a series of district by district virtual parks planning sessions, community planning sessions through Zoom, where you're able to, much as you are doing this evening, log into a session with our Parks Master Plan consultant and several of our staff members and learn more about what the master planning process is. But as importantly, take part in a survey real time that gives us feedback, helps to create statistically valid survey information, data that we can then use to plan the path forward. We had our first two virtual Parks Master Planning sessions last week. District 1 was actually on the 9th, and then we did District 2 on the 11th. But the good news for all of you who may not have had a chance to participate is that we've got 5 more of those scheduled in the coming weeks on the 18th, the 23rd through the 25th. That's the 23rd, 24th, and the 25th, and on June the 30th. Now, this information is posted on the Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs website. So if I said that a little bit too quickly, you didn't get a chance to get all the dates down, we'll certainly make sure that that information is available on the website. We email it out through all of the citizens who are registered in Civic Rec, and we provide it to all of our council members, staffs as well. So you'll be able to get those dates. And I'd like to, if I could, ask for your support in participating in these virtual Parks Master Planning sessions, as well as telling your friends and neighbors about them. This master plan is only going to be as good as we are able to connect to our community and really understand what it is that's going to meet the needs of families, seniors, children, active adults in our community. And in order to do that, we have to have a substantive and real dialogue with you as our community. And so we're looking forward to that process. It is, again, ongoing. The process right now, we've done some initial what's called context analysis through our parks consultant. They've met with all of our elected officials, interviewed staff. We've actually had some focus group meetings as well. There is a project steering committee, and we've done several online surveys already. So that process is kind of ongoing. And so as we work our way through that particular step, the meetings that we're into now that I just described are to help us to assess needs and priorities. And so we're in that assessment phase now. And then the remaining phases ahead of us are visioning, which we're really excited about. Once we finish assessing all the needs in a statistically valid way, then we'll begin our long-range visioning. For those of you who may not know, we have approximately 692 acres of park acreage here in our city of South Fulton. About half of that is developed. And so we've got to determine, working with you and with our elected officials, what we'd like to do over the next 5 to 10 years. And we're looking at everything from master trail net plans to health and fitness to all types of programming for different groups in our city. And so that long-range visioning process will help us to begin to hone in on what it is that is going to meet the needs of our community. And so we're really excited about that next phase in front of us. We've got 12 facilities in the department now. Some of them are quite aged. And so we got to decide as a community, do we invest in those? Do we build new facilities? And this process that's currently underway is going to help us together plan that future. Once we get through the visioning, the next step would be our implementation of the master plan. And there's some specific steps to doing that we're looking forward to. And finally, we would present the final plan for adoption by our city council and mayor so that they could adopt this plan formally once it's completed. And so there's a bit more ahead of us as we work our way through this process, but we're excited about it. Lastly, what I would tell you is currently all 17 of our parks across the city are closed. There is a tentative reopening plan in place. We get a lot of emails and questions about that. I think the city council will be taking that into consideration here in the very near future. And so hopefully there'll be some more details to come on that. I know everyone's been inside for quite some time, and as things are beginning to open up, parks are a vital part of our community. And so we want to make sure that we're able to provide those resources to you as well, but to do so in a way that is safe, that meets public health guidelines. I will tell you that there will need to be a new normal even when we begin to open up parks and facilities. You've probably seen that in retail stores that you've gone into and some of the expectations that we have to do things differently. But I think there's still plenty of room for us to be successful, for you to enjoy your park system, and for us to do so in a way that keeps everybody safe, healthy, and engaged. And so with that, that is the updates that I have for this evening. and I am more than happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Mr. Phillips, if you would share with the attendees some of the work that's going to happen, particularly in Trammell Crow, prior to us finishing this park master planning process to deal with some of the equipment issues they've had there that we were able to address.
Thank you, Councilwoman Rao. There is some short-term improvements that will be in place well before the master plan is completed. The first one that I'll tell you about is, as those of you who live in that community are aware, we have outdoor exercise equipment that has been there for quite some time. We are in the final stages of procuring all new outdoor exercise equipment for Trammell Crow. There are a couple of pieces there that may be still useful, and we'll look to kind of retain those, but we have a new design, all new state-of-the-art outdoor exercise equipment that will be going in the very near future. We're working with our procurement department now, so we're looking forward to that. We're also going to be doing some work on the sidewalks there. Over time, there's some displacement on some of the sidewalks there, and so we've got another vendor lined up to start that project very soon as well. And so that's a really good point that Councilwoman Rao brought up, because we're continuing to make improvements even as we plan our path forward. And so it's kind of a dual effort. So those are the two immediate short-term projects that you will see very shortly coming into fruition at Trammell Crow Park. We're excited about that exercise equipment. The new design is really user-friendly and brings in some new pieces of equipment that we haven't had there previously. And then, of course, gets rid of some of the equipment that's outdated, not as functional. And so that project is short-term and should be coming forward very soon.
Thank you. I also have a question on the chat, which I'll respond to. It says at Sandtown Crossing, we've caught a few kids riding around on dirt bikes, really enjoying the berms that we have, unfortunately. And what is the status of the proposed mountain bike park on Riverside? The Southeast Trust for Parks and Land, we continue to work with him on that particular project. We actually had some service days lined up, and we're going to garner a lot of volunteers to help with building those trails, and then COVID-19 hit. In fact, I recently had conversations with their executive director, Bill Jones, and one of the things we're talking about now during this downtown is to launch a Friends of the Park group for the park. So it is still very much in play, and you'll be hearing, receiving information about that soon. And we encourage you to participate or join the Friends of the Park. Next question, what about a walking trail around the field at Trammell Crow? We already have a sidewalk. Mr. Phillips, can you talk to some of the improvements about the trail that's already there?
Yes, and so that is the project that I referenced briefly earlier. So there is a sidewalk that circumferences much of the park now, and we're certainly looking to improve that in the next short term. And so that's not something that has to wait for the master plan. We've already identified a vendor for that, and so they're going to be making some improvements to that sidewalk that exists there. In addition, and this is more long term, we are looking at the undeveloped areas around Trammell Crow Park to see what potential there could be for other improvements. But in the short term, the existing concrete sidewalk will be improved very shortly. As I mentioned, we're going to level out some of those areas that have been displaced over time by weather and some settling. And so we'll make sure that that is done very shortly. And so you'll see that improvement at about the same time that we start working on that outdoor exercise equipment. And then long range, we're looking at additional development that may come through our Parks Master Plan.
And one of the things we did do, we already installed some improved lighting inside the restrooms. Some painting has occurred at both that park as well as Sandtown Park. So again, those things that we see that can be addressed in the short term, we focused on that.
Yes.
Another question. The question about, have we considered ATV park?
Yes, and so that has been an issue that we've looked at previously and are going to try to include in our master plan process when I talked about that visioning portion, which is kind of the next kind of milestone in the master plan, is to look at what new facilities would be useful. You know, we've had some challenges with ATVs, as I think many of you as citizens are aware. And so the idea of providing a specific area where those who like to ride ATVs could have a park dedicated for that is definitely something that's under consideration. It's not at a concept plan yet, but it's clearly a need. And so we want to see if we can find a positive resolution to that, as it has been, again, a challenge in some respects. If we can find a way to incorporate that type of facility in our master planning so that we can solve that in a positive way, we're definitely looking at that now.
And the final question I see raised at how are the renovation of Sandtown Gym coming?
We are working in close partnership with our general services department that is responsible for all major facilities in the city. There have already been significant assessments of Sandtown and the renovations that are needed there. And so I don't have a specific timeline on those deliverables yet, but we've had the facility assessed, we've identified it, and of course through our URA funding, there's funding in place. And so at the next opportunity, hopefully I'll have a specific update as to when those renovations will begin, but they are definitely actively in process as we speak.
Thank you. Just to piggyback on what Mr. Phillips said, the council approved Urban Redevelopment Agency last year. We have taken out a bond for $17 million to make improvements on our parks as well as our fire stations. While that sounds like a lot of money, it's not based on the needs that we have in those facilities, but it's a great first step. And as we go through this park master planning process and try to capture the wishes of the residents in terms of what our future park system will look like, you know, we'll have a better idea what the cost of those kind of improvements would be to the city. And of course, that's a longer term plan, but we do have, you know, money set aside already to deal with some of the immediate needs because we inherited, of course, a number of facilities that were aging when we received them from the county. So we're looking to make improvements, again, fire stations and parks.
One of the that I did not mention, Councilwoman Morales, we have recently done some work on the roof at the Sandtown Gymnasium. We had some long-standing leak issues that we kind of inherited among those problems you just mentioned that came along with the facilities. That work has been completed. And so that project has already been addressed. And so we're looking to continue to make improvements as we move forward as well.
And another thing, if you were not aware, we have installed LED lighting, and I think it's complete in all of our parks now. Is that correct, Mr. Phillips?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct. And that has been a big improvement for those of you who may have, I know that our parks have been closed for several months now, so some of you may not have had a chance to notice, but the LEDs, as most people know, consume far less energy, so they're cost efficient and green. So that helps us in our ability to be environmentally conscious, but they provide much better lighting. All of our outdoor parking lighting and all of the lighting around the exterior of Sandtown have been upgraded to LEDs, and we've done that across our park system, and it's made a significant improvement in the overall lighting in our exterior parks.
Well, I don't see any other comments relative to Parks and Rec, but Mr. Phillips, if you could share the link to the survey. And again, if you receive the District 1 newsletter, it also tells you about those upcoming sessions that Mr. Phillips has talked about, and we encourage you to go ahead and participate, and they'll be going on throughout the month of June. And we definitely want to hear from you. Like you said, the plan is only good as the input we get from residents. And so please take the time. It's actually a fun, interactive session, and it doesn't take, it's not a long process.
And that survey, which is really so important. I appreciate you, Councilwoman Rao, mentioning this survey. Again, you can get to that at www.surveymonkey.com/r/South Fulton Parks. We'll put that in the chat as well for those of you who want to participate. It's surveymonkey.com/r/South Fulton Parks. It will also be updated to our website, which you can find at City of South Fulton, ga.gov. There's a Parks and Recreation link there. And so we'll have that SurveyMonkey link updated on the website as well this week. And again, we'll put that in the chat for those of you who would like to participate. We'd certainly be happy. The more participation we can get, the better this master plan will be.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips.
Thank you, Councilwoman Rowell.
And next up, we have our final presenter, last but not least, Anna Roach, who will provide us updates from Fulton County.
I don't know that she's available. I've been looking out for her. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll give just a general update on a couple of things that I am aware of. For those who don't know, there are a number of capital improvements that Fulton County is embarking on in the area. One, and they're along the Fulton industrial area. One is a new animal shelter that will be across the street from the UPS facility, down on the other side of 20, as well as the public safety training facility that is going to be at Fulton Industrial and Boat Rock Road in that vicinity. And so those are two new initiatives of the county, as well as Commissioner Joe Karn had established a senior advisory committee where they were looking at putting basically a senior center somewhere in South County. And so it was a stakeholder group with residents across South Fulton County giving input on what that facility might look like. I don't know where they are exactly in the process, but that's one of the things that has been launched and is underway. As you know, we don't have a seniors facility in the footprint of the city of South Fulton, other than, which is on the edge right there, Danforth at the QLS facility. And so, of course, with a population of 100,000, that's something that, you know, is much needed in the area. And I guess at this time, I'll open it up for any other questions. I don't see any in the thread, but I'll take a question on anything.
There is one question that came up. Why do we have 3 stop signs on Wallace Road?
I wish Mr. Valenzuela was on the call, but I do know we had requests from a number of residents who live along Wallace Road concerned about their ability to get in and out of their driveways, as well as we had requests from 2 subdivisions, Madison Trace, as well as Woodside Hills, who actually probably started the request maybe a year and a half ago, asking for traffic calming in that area. And actually, they had showed me documentation where it dated back prior to even the incorporation of the city, where they were trying to bring traffic calm into the area. So I guess it's been maybe about 2 or 3 weeks that those new signs have been installed on Wallace Road, along with signs indicating that they're new because people are not familiar. But hopefully that will slow down the traffic on that road. A lot of times people are cutting through because they think they can get to Camp Creek by turning off, trying to, you know, divert themselves from traffic. And so they have seen increased traffic on that road.
Okay. And then have we addressed the question about the renovations regarding Sandtown Gym?
I think we kind of did.
Okay.
One of the things that Mr. Phillips indicated is they've recently addressed some roof issues. We've have lighting inside the gym. If you were not, it's new LED lights inside the gym and outside of the gym. at Sandtown Rec Center. Those are some of the initial things that are being done. But there are assessments being made on all of our facilities, and I'm speaking specifically to park facilities as well as fire stations. And they'll be presenting a plan to council, I believe in the next 30 days, about prioritizing based on need. So, you know, they're getting all those quotes and all that kind of information to share with us. So we prioritize the use of that $17 million that's earmarked for capital improvement. And then there's a question about census, and then we have the census. Of course, it's really critical that you complete the census. It leverages what kind of resources come to our city. This is the first time our city will be participating in the census since we formed our city. And it will allow for some direct allocation of federal funds to come to our community. And that's all based on, they base that on population. And so as of Friday, I think the city was at 59.9% completion rate out of 100. You know, our original target was to get to 80%. When the 2010 census was held, Fulton County, I think, was about at 70. We want to get to 80%, so we've upped the ante. But of course, the closer we get to the 100%, the more money we can bring in our community to deal with a range of issues, from transportation to infrastructure investments. So please encourage your friends and family to complete the census wherever they live. So then I have a question. Runoff election and city representatives on Fulton County Task Force. I believe on that Fulton County Task Force, there are, it's made up of people from districts, all people from District 6. So they are city residents on that task force. And I don't have all the names, but I saw initial lists, but they're all from District 6 is my understanding. And Skylar Bates, she has her hand raised.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my question is about Reynolds Road and Hamilton Road, that intersection seems to have a lot of accidents. And my concern is what is going to be done about it. I have a pre-driver and I'm very concerned. She's about to get a driver's license. And I get afraid when I'm trying to turn left off of Reynolds onto Campbellton, because I can't see, if there's a long line of traffic, I can't see around. And I kind of creep out there, and then I depend on other people to kind of wave me through. So I asked the question to the panelists earlier from the GDOT about possibly placing mirrors on the tree or somewhere at that corner where we are able to actually see the oncoming traffic and make a decision to try to turn or not if it's clear. So I don't know if you all have discussed this in other meetings, but I would just like to hear if there are any plans to address it.
I don't know if the GDOT representative, I can tell you from past conversations, some general information that was shared. And I think it's something we can definitely revisit. And maybe we can focus on having a specific, because I understand your concerns as well. Particularly with the new retail, we need to look at all of that. At one point, I know was we were informed that due to its proximity to Camp Creek, that light right there, they could not install a light. And so the only improvement in recent that we've had right at that intersection is that sign. It's a red sign that's kind of like that draws your attention, one that you can't go straight. But you know, it's like I said, it's been a while since we've had that conversation. So this is an area I think we can try to re-engage Mr. Johnson and his team to provide insight and have them look at that. I worked really hard to get them to repave from Enon Road to Camp Creek. You know, I'm still trying to get the other half down to the Douglas line. So I think all of that should be a part of the conversation. And so
okay,
we'll have him back real soon to talk about that.
Okay, I appreciate that, because I just think mirrors are a low-tech option that should not be very expensive, and that would really solve the problem, because you would be able to see oncoming traffic from Camp Creek and make a decision to turn or not.
And if you look at the thread, Mr. Johnson's information is available, and he shared it if you'd like to reach out directly again.
Thank you.
I'll be doing the same.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the time and this forum.
Thank you, Ms. Bates. I have a question on the thread about code enforcement issues. How does the city go about identifying residential code enforcement and enforcing the codes? We have a code inspector assigned to our area, but we launched the C-Click Fix app. If you could put the link to that in there for me, that would be helpful, so that the guests or participants get the information to C-Click Fix. It's a wonderful app that allows you to report and take pictures of any code violations that you see. It assigns a number to that case, and you can track it to resolution. You can find out if the inspector has been up to follow up. Just because it's in C-Click Fix does not mean it's a code violation. It has to be actually viewed by an inspector. But I use it. I love it. It's a good way for to stay on track of issues in your area. You can also go, if you set up an account, you can also go on and see any in the general area. So you may find that it's already been reported and it may be going through the code enforcement process, which it may have to go before the board or whatever the status, you can see it on C-Click Fix. What other questions? I don't see any other questions. I'm scrolling through to make sure I haven't missed anything. I think we've, okay, I see a question from Ms. Johnson. She said, can we discuss the bikes? We certainly can. I think the various sessions we're having specifics to Parks and Rec is the best form to do that, because it's in a recreation space. I can tell you there will be at least two schools of thoughts about the ATVs. They have been a real challenge in our area. Things have settled down a bit, and we're still dealing with some of it actually adjacent to us along Foot and Industrial. I don't know that they have any ordinance in place relative to county. I had some initial conversations with the current commissioner about introducing legislation about ATVs, because they race in our area. They've been riding a utility line. So I do think if we do entertain them, they need to be in a controlled setting. I think one of the participants suggested maybe an ATV park, but I will encourage you to get on any one of those sessions that are being held in June. And again, the survey link is also in the Zoom chat, and I will also send that out via newsletter. Okay, I see another question. What is the city doing about litter on Boat Rock and Bakers Ferry Road? I cannot tell you how many times that road gets cleaned, and I go out and clean it myself there and Reynolds Road. It is just a problem, and you can almost follow the trail of trash. It pretty much comes down Boat Rock, goes to Bakers Ferry to the right, and then up to Mitchell Crossing, and then it kind of levels off. That is you know, a hot spot because people are walking. And so one of the things I do want to, as a city begin to look at our next round of T-SPLOST, looking at sidewalks in that area, it would be challenging to put, you know, they don't generally install trash cans along unfinished road, you know, walkways, but that may be something that can help. But we need to also raise awareness. This is our community, and people need to make a bigger effort to make sure that we keep it pristine. Thank you for your question, Ms. Head. Are there any plans to add traffic controls to prevent accidents at the oh, we talked about that, Reynolds and Campbellton Road. I don't think I see any new questions. Thank you for joining the District 1 Town Hall. We have over 50 people who at different points were on this call between participants and panelists. We thank you for your time. It will be available on my Facebook page, and I'll share it in my newsletter for those who may not have been able to join. Thank you for your time, and continue to stay safe. Thank you.